Okay, moving on to item B, we have a brief presentation this evening. I've asked our tech integrators who've been working on our websites to provide a 20-minute update on the design and progress of the new district website. The work is being led by Diana Ganju, Trish Hill, and Ann Costa. I also want to, while they're getting set for their presentation, I'll just remind you that last week we acknowledged the work of a high school student, Matt McGee, who worked with one of our teachers here, Karen McGrath, in the development of the newly designed high school website. It was mentioned at last week's meeting, but I thought it would be a good intro tonight because the two sites will link together. And the purpose of the presentation tonight is to really update parents, students, and community members prior to the release of the new website about some of the features that will help to inform all about the programs and progress of the district. There are a lot of features to this, a lot to be done, and periodically we will be sharing with everyone some of those features because it's a lot to absorb all at once. So tonight about a 20-minute presentation. Thank you.
I'm Diana Ganju, Technology Integration Specialist in the K-8 schools, and we're really excited to come here and let our community know about.
Excuse me, Diana, could you just pull that mic close to us just so we can, everybody at home, get a...
Okay. Can you hear me now? This is very much in process. It's a big project, something that we've heard both from the community, from our colleagues, from administration, that really needs to be done across the district. What we're going to be talking about largely tonight is the district website, so not necessarily any of the 4 school websites, which we'll address in the timeline. But what we're talking about right now is what we're working on is when you go to sandwich.k12.ma.us, the blue and white page, that essential website there. That's what we're working on. And Trish is going to talk to you a little bit about the tools that we're using to do that and the type of functions and features that will be available once we go live.
I think I'm going to sit next to you because of the microphone.
You could, there's a lot of cord on that if you want to just pull it out of the, if you feel more comfortable standing.
Oh, that's fine.
Do you want to Diana? All right.
Okay, when we first met with Dr. Canfield in September, one of the issues that he wanted us to work on was redesigning the district website. And when we first talked about it, we could have worked on this ourselves and given the site a facelift, but we were really looking for more of a web-based solution for other issues that this could address. So we looked around at different companies and we decided to go with a company called Edline for several different reasons. We knew that it already worked with our current student information system because we already have an online grading program called GradeQuick, so we knew that it would integrate with software that we already had. And they not only did web design and web hosting, but they also offered communication solutions that we thought would benefit the Sandwich Public Schools. So in designing the website, one of the things that we wanted to have was we wanted to give the school system a professional face that would communicate all of the good work that teachers in the Sandwich Public Schools do, highlight the quality work that students are doing, and serve as a communication tool. So we started by looking at presenting a unified framework for the website. And what we wanted was, as parents went from the district site onto the school sites, we wanted a consistent navigation system, so it would be easy for families to use. And so on the new website, we have a global navigation that will also play down to the school sites. Then we also have some shared content boxes, so there'll be calendars on each of the home pages of all the different schools. There'll be an area for a principal's update, so there's consistency as you travel from school to school. And there'll also be shared content where things will link back up to the district page. But we also know that each of the schools in the district have their own unique character, and we wanted to honor that. So in this system, you can have consistency, but you can also have different colors for the different schools, so they could represent their school colors. They could have different graphics, pictures of their own students, different activities that are going on in their schools, their school mascot, for example. And they could highlight different stories that are unique to their own schools, and they can have customize some of their own content boxes. Another thing that we were looking at was the accessibility of the website and the ease of use. Right now, each of the school pages are updated by different people. The district site is updated by Joan here and Diana from time to time, and then each of the tech ESPs at the schools actually update at the school level. And that actually caused some difficulty because if, for example, Dr. Canfield wanted to send out a message, he has to have Joan do one piece, but then Joan has to contact different people at different schools to get that same piece on their website. With this feature, we'll actually be able to have multiple contributors, which will be a nice feature. We won't need to have the tech ESPs be the only person doing the updating. They work on a very specific contract and schedule. So for example, when school is out of session and they're not working, those websites can't be updated. So this will allow year-round employees to update all of them and push information down. And we'll also have different levels of access. So for example, the public will be able to log on to the website and see what we would like them to see, but we can also have different layers of access. So parents will actually be given their own specific login, and they might be able to see things specific to needs as a parent. So they'll be able to see PTO meetings, or they'll have access that other people in the general public might not need to. Same thing is true for the teachers. And this will allow the system also to work as an intranet. So, for example, if a principal wants to let a staff know about a particular announcement, they want to let a reminder that there's a faculty meeting after school, they can actually post this on, and as teachers log on, they would get that information. It's not necessarily something that the general public would be interested in if there's a faculty meeting, at 3:10. And students will also have their own logins that allow them to see things that are specific to their needs. As I mentioned before, we're going to have multiple contributors. The nice thing with this particular website is it's a what you see is what you get type of editing process. So if you can attach an email, you can actually update the website as long as you have the correct privileges, which will be assigned. And as I said, we can push down information from the district level down to the school level. Some of the features, which there are many, that this new Edline system provides us is it supports our existing GradeQuick program. It would provide parents access to online grades should teachers choose to post them. One of the increasing questions we get are for classroom teacher websites. More and more teachers are asking to have their own websites, and teachers can actually have their own websites through various free media, but when you go on those free websites, they often give you a space limit. And if you want more space than that, you actually have to pay for it. So this actually has an unlimited amount of space, so teachers can post things like videos, they can post assignments, they could post PowerPoint presentations without having to worry about space limits. And as a student logs on, they would actually see all of the classes that they are scheduled for linked together. It also provides the ability for teachers to have blogs. This is another common request that we're getting more and more, that teachers want to be able to blog. There's quiz tools, things where a teacher can actually post a quiz online. Students can take the quiz online and can be graded for them by the computer, and those grades then feed back into the GradeQuick system. The next one is my personal favorite as a parent. This is a joint calendar for academic, sports, and events. So say, for example, that you have a student at the high school who's involved in soccer, and they are taking calculus and they are taking physics. Well, on a joint calendar for because we have different contributors, you would actually have a calendar that you could print out that would tell you exactly when your child's calculus test is, when their physics project is due, and when the next soccer game is. And this is something that moms everywhere do all the time, where they sit down with all the papers and try and write it on the big whiteboard or the chalkboard at home. And this actually, parents will be able to pull down a menu for each child and their family and get a joint calendar of events, including things like PTO and PAC meetings. There's a notification system similar to an Alert Now that would be able to do email pushes out to families, which I think will be a great tool for us in terms of our communication with the public. There's options for forms and surveys. So as we need to collect things, say for example for the tech plan, we can actually ask parents to do that online and the data would feed back to us. It's an ADA compliant system, which means that people with disabilities can actually use this appropriately using screen readers and provide the correct list views for other needs. And they also offer free online training, and we as the tech integration staff will be doing our level best to get everyone trained to use the pieces that they would like to access, from the public at large to parents and to staff and even students. This is actually a template of what our new site would actually look like. Now, and Diana's going to talk a little bit about that one.
Okay. So the way that Edline works is, as Trish mentioned at the beginning, we didn't start from scratch on this. And there were a lot of reasons not to do that. With this much functionality, I'll just sit here for a second, I guess. With this much functionality, sometimes there comes limitations, because we're working with some really wonderful technology, but that you do have to work within that technology. And they provided a huge portfolio of design templates, and we went through a process of selecting that template to move forward with. So this is how it looks right now. And you can see there's a large image of the cranberries there. We've talked about that changing seasonally, and these are kind of the details that we actually have not gotten into too much quite yet. I do want to mention the two Polaroid type pictures that are up there right now. Those are stock images, not our students in Sandwich Public Schools. We would like to use pictures of our classrooms, of our students, of our athletics, and we are in the process, as Ann will show you in our timeline, of making sure that we approach that topic with sensitivity and responsibly as a school district. And we've been looking at what other districts have done. We are aware that we do have something that we send home with parents at the beginning of the school year about a photo release, but we feel that having your child's picture potentially on the homepage, it's a really exciting thing. However, it is extremely different from being on a bulletin board in the hallway of the school. And we want to respect that because the web is a public place. So we're looking through that, and we want the families to know that we are very aware of that situation, and that's why there are stock photos there, and that's what we're working towards over the next month or so. So I guess I will have to pull this out for a second. So I keep thinking I can touch that. Sorry.
Just want to advance? Okay.
We're going to just go down here for a second. I just want to go right. Yeah, you do it.
What do you know?
Internet Explorer. Thank you. Oh.
We really do know what we're doing.
Okay, and remind me I can't touch it. Okay, so this site is online, but it's password protected, and there's about 4 of us that have access, because what you see is essentially like a gift wrap. It's kind of it's a half full box. It's not empty anymore. It used to be empty. So Trish mentioned the global navigation. This starts at students going across the school committee. That global navigation, you will see that show up on the 4 building websites as we develop those as well. I want to just point out a few things so you can see. And if you can click on district offices for me. And district offices, you got that? Thanks. District offices is kind of a new area. As we look at redesigning the district website, we're looking at what information goes across the buildings and what information is specific to a school. And obviously, the district offices is going to be something that goes across. And some of this is new. For example, if you go to district offices, Health Services has web pages right now, so we're just moving that content over to the new site. But for example, facilities, I see Alan out there, facilities and grounds, that's a brand new section that we're building from scratch. So those are some of the areas that will be growing. There will be public resources for families and staff to go to. Some of the other areas, curriculum is going to be a new area that we haven't had in the past. And this will be an area that is a growing area that parents can go to and staff can go to as a resource as we collaborate on curriculum. And this is kind of an interesting point when we talk about multiple contributors, because this is something that different teachers can have access to help contribute information. The idea of using a website like this is that the whole district can contribute to creating the end product. And it's not just a group of 3. We're just the technicians trying to build it. Okay. So this is an example of like the K through 8 ELA curriculum page that we've been working with teachers to collect information, to build, to help show our programs and the wonderful curriculum that we have in our schools that we're working on. Staff is also a new area. And this is, Trish mentioned the idea of an intranet, so an internal functioning internet, essentially. So a place that staff can go for what staff needs. It's like a human resources for outside of the K system. So all of our, for example, our ASAP, our link to ASAP, our link to email, all of the things that we need on a regular basis, you've got a go-to place that you can go there to find that type of information. Okay. So some areas that are definitely still in the works, students and parents sections, we'll be working on those sections. For the most part, staff across the school committee is going to be district-wide information. Once you branch out into the schools, you're going to see things that are going to be unique under students and parents specifically to the needs of that school. So this is kind of where we're at right now. We've got quite a bit to go, but we're plugging it around as we can. I'm going to let Ann talk to you a little bit about the timeline. I'll pull that up for you, Ann, if you'd like. Okay.
I'm Ann Costa. I'm the other Technology Integration Specialist. And we've done most of what's crossed off here. In November, we did expand the contract with Edline, so it was no longer just with GradeQuick, but with the website functionality. We did post the forms 470. Part of the Edline site is eligible for federal funding, but we had to apply to let them know that we will be looking for that next year. We had to apply for that and let them know. We did get the initial visual design for the district site, which you just saw, and we have been undergoing webinar trainings as a team to try to figure out how this whole website works and how to add all that content that we've got to add to it. That was back in November when I first started. In December, the only thing that we haven't done yet that we're looking at, we've actually been on some websites trying to see other districts signed off sheets for the parents to say, yes, it's okay for you to have my students' pictures up online. We're still deciding which one we want to use, but we do want to get that underway. We've talked to the principals to find out what color schemes they may want for their schools, what kind of pictures as far as mascots, and get their input, what content they want to see on their individual school sites. Again, we've undergone more training, and we did have a progress report meeting with the marketing committee and the principals. So here we are in January. We're in the process of moving the content from all of those websites that the school department has at this moment. Creating new content if there was no content there, like with the curriculum site. There's been a lot of new content that's had to be created. Not so much new content as far as the website itself. They've pulled content from digital form that hasn't been available on the website. With, again, trying to figure out visual designs for the schools. We've also spoken to the principals about who they might want as contributors inside their schools, who's going to be able to go in and add any information to the sites. And then eventually, we will start training other people and rolling out the teacher accounts. And this is our introduction to the staff in the community. This is February. We're aiming towards having the district site go live in February. Not sure when in February yet, but that's our goal. And keep our contributors updated, create site maps, keep moving that content. That content is going to be moved for a while, even after the school sites are up. It's going to take a while to get the content in and change it. We're going to keep the community and the parents updated, and let the teachers know what will be available on these websites for them, so that if they want to have access to their own website, their own blogging sites, they will have that ability. We'll let them know what they can have, and we'll do some training. We're hoping to make the school sites live to the public in March, train the rest of the teachers, train any parents, give the parents any support and information that they may need to access their students' websites. And there's lots of ongoing training and collaboration with the community. That's it. Okay. Any questions?